The Nintendo 64. A legendary but limited console, which is home to a lot of timeless classics. Mario 64, Zelda 64, GoldenEye 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, you name them. Even though the console is very limited to the use of cartridges, unlike the Saturn and PlayStation which uses CDs, it's a very memorable console which uses the analog stick for 3D movement, and various packs, like the Expansion and Rumble packs. My family used to have this console when I was a toddler, and I really enjoyed this piece of hardware when my uncle let us borrow this thing. So enough storytelling. There's plenty, I mean plenty, of Nintendo 64 hidden gems out there. This is what the video's about. So here's my top 5 favorite Nintendo 64 gems. Yes, it's a 5 this time. I'm sorry, but I couldn't make a 10. Be wary that the emulation for this is abysmal, from the graphics to sound. You have to fuck around with the graphical settings, change the plugins, etc. to make it work. Also, some footage will be taken from other YouTubers because I want to show you what it's supposed to look like on actual hardware. So that's out of the way. Let's start this. Time is wasted. Tonic Trouble may not be the greatest game on this list, or receive very well, but it serves as a testing ground for Ubisoft's new engine, for one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games, Rayman 2. And hell, the game's worked on with Rayman 2's development cycle, so better cut some slack for these guys. So the game stars Agent Ed, a Rayman-like being who bears a striking resemblance to Fanboy from one of the most annoying cartoons in history. So the abridged version of the intro is that Ed was cleaning his spaceship, the Albatross. A can of Mountain Dew falls off the shelf. Ed drinks it, it tasted nasty, and the can falls off and descends to Earth. When the MOG hits the fan, which mutated the plants and vegetables, a Viking stole it for diabolical reasons. Your mission is to get it back, and need some help from a few friends, like this Ray Amazon lady, and Einstein if you discover meth. So the game itself seems alright. It's pretty much non-linear to say the least, but it forces you to backtrack. You traverse levels, collecting 6 certain objects, while collecting 20 to 30 stories called antidotes for each level. Collect those and head back to Ray Einstein for new abilities, such as gliding with your bow tie and swimming on the water, using a fishbowl, or flask. Yeah, I do chemistry. The levels themselves can be somewhat easy, or very complex. The music here is not really my favorite comparing Rayman 2's, but it sounds like 70s porno music at times. Yeah, don't get any ideas. There's also some flaws in this game, such as the gliding controls as one of them, and the camera. Believe me, if you're on a spinning platform, the camera may move away from you. Yeah. But I'm not gonna give you any spoilers to the ending, but what I heard is the ending is a load of donkey duty. But there's also a PC version that has slightly different intro, but the game itself is pretty much the same, but with PC controls. I simply recommend this if you're a huge Rayman fan. Simply recommend this. Not highly. Simply. Moving on. Punch Games rings the bell to you, you'll think of a certain thieving raccoon named, who is he again? He was a sly motherfucker. Oh! JoJo! Well, he's the main villain of the game where you play as a one-wheel robot, armed with a flashlight. So yeah. This is Rocket Robot on Wheels, everyone. This is one of the earliest games by Sucker Punch, who's known for Infamous and the Sly Cooper games. The story to this game is pretty straightforward. The robot's owner is opening a theme park, which is the galaxy's version of Disney World, so he puts Rocket in charge to take care of Whoopi and Jojo the raccoon. 1 second after the owner's departure later, all the tokens and tickets were stolen by Jotaro and kidnaps Whoopi Goldberg. So it's up to the one-wheel robot to save the day, and the park before the game's title will be Rocket's Bizarre Adventure. So the game itself is pretty much like your average platformer, like Rayman 2, Mario 64, Banjo, etc. You explore many levels with a different theme to it, and you get many abilities such as double jumping, extended grappling, and freeze rays. The controls for this game are smooth as a marble tabletop, and the camera is not an asshole this time. You could also drive vehicles like the Wienermobile and a hovering chariot that shoots paintballs, but there's more for each world. The level designs are massive and non-linear. One world, you're on an island, with clowns here, Bee Funhouse there, and Roller Coaster Tycoon in the middle. Another world feels like you're in ancient Rome, mixed with paintball. But, I'm not gonna tell you the other levels because I want you to see it yourself. Well, that, because I haven't gone through much of the game yet, so yeah. The soundtrack for this game is not really my favorite comparing to Banjo and Mario, but it's pretty good. But there's barely any downsides, but to me, it kinda feels a bit too easy. Well, at least there's in-game cheats, if you want to go for a second time. Go figure. So, I was like a year old when this game actually came out. But this game right here is the shit. To me, that is. For you, it's your opinion. Top Gear Auger's Ride is a fast-paced racer published by Kemco and developed by Snowblind Studios in 1998. So let me get this out of the way. It's not related to the TV series. This is one of the earlier games to utilize the Nintendo 64's coveted Expansion Pak, but that's for enhancing the game's graphics. So you have plenty of cars to choose from, ranging from the Volkswagen Beetle and Mitsubishi Eclipse, to the Ferrari F40 and McLaren F1. Plus some bonus vehicles like the Nintendo Power Jeepster and the Taco, complete with tomato wheels. There's also 6 tracks, 7 if you count the space one, with many reverse mirrors and weather variations. And there's some minor gripes in the game, such as the controls are kinda loose, car sounds like one of those bubble blowing guns, and the crashing sound effects are... Also, the only big flaw for this is that there's no time trial mode. What kind of racing game that has no time trial mode? It's pretty much the practice mode for every racing game, to get the feel of it. Anyways, criticism aside, the game allows you to have 4-player championship mode, which is pretty nifty. You can also change your vehicle's colors with many possibilities, some Easter eggs, and the great graphics age pretty well on the Nintendo 64 standards. I mean, name another N64 game that has great graphics that age well. Okay, maybe most rare 64 games have great graphics, but never mind. It's one of my favorites and I recommend the physical copy of this game, because the emulated version looks like shit. Oh, have I told you that the game has a rockin' soundtrack by an obscure band? Yeah, thought so.
Shit. That is bad. That's really fucking bad. So I'm gonna give you a nutshell of freaking Jet Force Gemini. It's a game created by Rare. Most specifically, Rare's Blast Corps team. Or Blast Corps. I don't know. It says Corpse on it, so why can't it be Corpse, not Core? But whatever. You play as 3 characters. The remaining 3 characters from a Jet Force fleet who's been annihilated by some asshole named Mizar, with his army of ants called drones and whatnot. So it's a pretty decent third-person shooter. Has some platforming elements here and there, some puzzles, and a lot of things, but let's just say I don't really enjoy it as much as number 1, because, well, it's kind of fun, but 2, it gets tedious. I mean, really fucking tedious. I mean, What I heard is that you had to collect all the Ewoks known as tribals all the way through the game. If you accidentally killed one of them, well, you had to go restart the whole level. And you had to go through shit again, so yeah. Yeah, apparently the script for Jet Force Gemini, of me explaining it, is pretty fucking long. Long as the Silhouette Mirage, which I'll try to explain on my PlayStation Gems video, so... okay then. Yeah, speaking of which... The game itself is pretty damn long. But... you don't need the expansion pack just to play this game. It's fucking crazy. You know, this game was originally going to use the damn expansion pack, but Rare doesn't like to alienate the players, so yeah. It's crazy shit, though. I ever told you this was on the Xbone too? As part of Rare Replay, that is, but yeah. You want to go through the honorable mentions? Yeah, thought so.
Rush 2 is one of my favorite games in general. Midway developed this game in a short time span, and you might think this is some sort of rushed cash-in, right? Bad pun aside. It's actually superior to its predecessor and contains more content. I mean, a lot more content. The game has improved drastically from the graphics and physics. It also allows you to customize the look and feel of your cars, and you could change the look of the game's tracks, like if you want Las Vegas to be foggy and windy with the side mirror mode, go right the fuck ahead. Of course the hidden keys are back, but it's more easier to find and collect. Those keys unlock extra vehicles, by the way, and that's my only personal gripe with these, because you unlock these cars for that particular track alone. But there's only one unlockable car, which doesn't require to collect keys, by the way. Also, they introduce a clever promotion by collecting cans of Mountain Dew to unlock the Mountain Dew car. The tracks themselves are a step up from the original, and it has some great secret routes like the subways from New York and jumping onto rooftops in Seattle. They also added a stunt track, which many Rush fans wanted, and the soundtrack, by the way, is more techno, but it really fits. Sadly, no Rush though. The band Rush. Imagine the game Rush while you're playing Rush while you're watching the movie Rush. Even though there's some minor drawbacks which I don't mind, but many original Rush fans do. They say it's not as extreme as the first game did. But sadly, this is the only exclusive to the N64, meaning there's no PlayStation version, no Dreamcast version, no arcade version, nothing. I mean, it's a shame because it's a damn good game. I mean, Rush 2049 had an N64 release, a Dreamcast version, and an arcade version. Hell, it has a GBC version as well, so why? Why this is only exclusive to the N64 and that's it? Maybe it has something to do with budget limitations, but that's just me though. So tune in next time where I uncover one of my favorite gems on my favorite handheld. Sorry about this. The Game Boy Advance. So my name is Mace the Omnilusion, and I'll see you later.